What is your favorite color? I had a favorite color in my life, and that was yellow. I thought that yellow is very special. I know that you all have favorite colors in your life, just like I did. So, if someone asked me to select a dress with my preference, then I'd say I want it in yellow, a sari, a dress, some shoes. I wanted it to be yellow. So my choices depended on that. But later on, I found this great truth about yellow. So today we'll talk about the story behind yellow. So what is this? A leaf, right? So how do you perceive this leaf? So normally the sunlight, we call it the white light, hits this leaf, the leaf reflects it back. It absorbs some energy and it reflects the rest of it. And that is what is being coming through our lens until it touches the retina and it sends a signal to the brain. So that is the normal process and we all know that process. So it is said that yellow has 2.1 electron volt. So 2.1 electron volt of energy. So normally there is this electromagnetic spectrum and we all know, we might have heard about this electromagnetic spectrum, and every color, green, every color, red, yellow, blue, every color has its own electron volt value, which is the photonic energy that it contains. So when I show you this, what is really here? Do you think that yellow exists in this leaf? Because as we discussed, the light rays hit this particular object and then it reflects the light. And that is what is being coming through the lens to the retina. So if we talk about this process, did this object go through the lens? Did this object go to retina? And what about the signal that is generated from there to the brain? Did this object, did this leaf go to your brain? No, only an energy. 2.1 electron volt of energy was there. And that is what we call the perception of yellow. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what we call a mind. So the mind is born to recognize yellow. So the eye cannot recognize any objects. So what about this then? What do you think about this color? What is this color? It's yellow. Again. But you think this is a sunflower, don't you? This is a flower, this is a sunflower, and this particular sunflower is different to this leaf. That is what we think. But if we ask the eye, let's ask your eye. What do you recognize? How do you feel? It'll say it's just 2.1 electron volt of energy. Yellow. Yellow is what I recognize. That is the answer that your eye would give. And what if we show this? It'll again say, of course, 2.1 electron volt of photonic energy is what I recognize. And then what about this? It's a different kind of a flower. So what is this? Is it same as this? No. But what if we ask that same question from your eye? The eye recognizes only the energy. The eye grasps only the energy of 2.1 electron volt. What about this? It's a dried leaf. What about this? Again, the eye would answer. 2.1 electron volt, same energy, same color, which is yellow. And this, yellow, same color, same energy. So what we recognize, what is actually there is this bulk energy source. What is really there is this photonic energy, nothing else. And when we perceive, that is when we feel yellow. But ultimately, it is just yellow that we perceive. But for you and I, we feel that this is a flower and that is a separate entity. We feel that these two are different. And we feel that this is better than this. This is more valuable than this. And this is very special to me because this was given to me by my boyfriend, maybe my husband. So this flower is very special. This flower reminds me of my grandmother because she had this hat and she wears this flower over there. My mother loved sunflowers, so this flower reminds me of my mother. There are so many stories in our lives, sentimental values, but ultimately, what was really there was 2.1 electron volt of energy. That is what we recognized, not the leaf, not the flower. Because there was never a flower to begin with. Because there was never a leaf to begin with. Just yellow. So ask yourself this question. What is the difference between this yellow and this yellow? There is no difference. Then why do we think that this is a flower and it has different characteristics and it is very special, but this is just a leaf, an autumn leaf that we will going to throw away? We don't give value to it, do we? Why? Because we feel specialty. So ladies and gentlemen, the specialty is created in your mind. It doesn't exist in these objects that we see. It doesn't exist in anything that you see. It is just a fabrication in your own mind, nothing more. So there is this experiment. I'll tell you the story. So there was a scientist that once poured some wine to this man and he said, well, this is a very, very sophisticated kind, very exquisite. It's made in this particular vineyard and you'll love it. It's been used by people who really value wine. So this man drank it and he said, wow, it's a very unique, one of a kind. It's very tasty even. But then he even checked the bottle and proved it to him. And then later on, he was shown that the wine that he drank was just an ordinary one. No specialty there. So then, the next time that he drank it, he didn't feel any specialty. He just felt that this is one of the ordinary wines. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because the specialty is created in your mind. It doesn't exist in these objects. It doesn't exist in the flower. It doesn't exist in this leaf. Because as we explained, yellow is yellow is yellow. There is no difference. But when this mind is really ignorant, when this mind looks for specialty, when this mind looks for separation, something that is unique, what happens is we take yellow and we fabricate a leaf. We take yellow and we fabricate a flower. We take what is actually there and the mind fabricates the rest of it. It fabricates everything that is not actually there, beyond the truth, way beyond the truth. So that is why it's really important to see right through whatever that you see. Don't take it as a bulk and admit that this is a flower, this is a flower, this is a leaf. Just be okay with that. Question it. How come that there is a difference? For example, in your life you have this experience that when you go to a shop and when you were searching for this specific dress with a specific color, ask yourself this question: why? What is the specialty? If it is just another energy, and that energy doesn't exist in this object, it is just an energy that creates a perception which is the same. Yellow is the same, but we take yellow and we create something that is not actually there in our mind. So, what is the downfall of that? What is the problem with that? So, yellow is good. So what? You might ask this question. I'll tell you why. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it creates frustrations, doesn't it? When you don't have what you think that is special, when you want to have it but you can't have it, doesn't that create a small pinch of sorrow? Doesn't that create a small agony in you? Something that you want to get rid of by owning that object? What if someone gave you this beautiful necklace, this beautiful jewelry? Maybe it was owned by your parents. Maybe you love it a lot. Maybe it's your car that you newly bought. And you want to clean it, you want to keep it very nice and clean. But there's a dent now. Someone made a dent in your car and you see it as black now. There's a dent that is really black. The color was removed in that place. So now you get angry. You get frustrated. How did that happen? Why did that happen? How did that happen? And why does it happen like that? Because you have this specialty in your mind about different colors, about everything for that matter. About everything for that matter. When we don't understand this truth, it creates agony and frustration, sorrow and fear. You name it. You'll feel it. You will feel every feeling. So how to get rid of this sadness is what we are explaining here. Understand that there is no actual difference between yellow. Yellow is yellow. Because as we explained, it's just an energy of the sunlight. If we take another color, let's say red, it has a different photonic energy. But the energy is the only difference. There is no object that will give you that difference. There is no object that has this intrinsic characteristic of value and specialty. It is created in your mind. So don't you think that the mind is this powerful machine that you need to understand? My personal belief is, ladies and gentlemen, that everyone should understand how this mind works. Become mind doctors, become mind engineers, become mind scientists. Because it is this sophisticated machine that controls everything. So you have this choice. You can become a mind doctor. And you can explore this truth. You can broaden your horizon and experience this nectar of truth, this ambrosia of truth. And it will make your life very easy, and it will make your life happy and blissful. Something that you have never experienced before. So I invite you, think about this. I ask you to think about this whenever you see a color. Does the color exist there, or is it just a process that happens in this mind? The process itself is the mind.